Alright, who are the best MLB players all time from each of the 50 US states? Before you suggest it in the comments for the next video, I've already done a video on the best players from each country all time. That was years ago, but the best player from each country has not changed since then. I'll link that video in the description if you haven't seen it yet. Best active players from every country I last did a couple years ago, and most of those are still the same. No need to make a whole new video on the topic. I wanted to do a best active player from every state video, but a quick search revealed that someone named Blake Robinson did that on his channel just a few months ago. And he did a pretty good job of it, nothing I can really improve on, so you should check out his video. As for this topic, the best players all time from every state, as far as I can tell, no one's done it yet, so here we are. I won't be including the U.S. territories of Puerto Rico, Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands, and American Samoa. Those were included on the best players from each country video. Today it's just the 50 states plus Washington, D.C. I'll go in order from the states that have produced the fewest number of Major League ball players to the states that have produced the most. So the quality of players mentioned generally gets better as we move on. But there are some great ball players that came from states that didn't produce many Major League players. And there are some states where a lot of Major League players have come from, but they're all pretty average. I'm mostly going by birthplace here, but a state's best player could also be someone who grew up there but was born elsewhere. I try to include those here, but it's often hard to find all the players who were raised in a particular state. There could be some player I didn't find who was born in one state, moved to another, and went on to become the best MLB player from the state he grew up in. Please let us know in the comments if there is such a player. You guys live in these states, you know better than me, and that's what the comment section is for. Now let's get started. The state that has produced the fewest Major League players is, no surprise, Alaska, with only 12. Small population and a long winter make it hard to get the right amount of playing time. And for that reason, the best, of course, is someone who moved away shortly after he was brought home from the hospital. Curt Schilling, born in Anchorage, was a 3-time Cy Young runner-up, a World Series MVP, 216 career wins, twice led the league in wins, 4-time league leader in complete games, twice in innings pitched, twice struck out over 300 batters, and struck out over 3,000 in his career. Easily the best player born in Alaska. Wyoming. 16 players born in Wyoming have reached the Major League level. The best one was pitcher Tom Browning from Casper, Wyoming. In a 12-year Major League career from 1984 to 95, Browning won 123 games, led the league in starts 4 times, once won 20 games, won All-Star selection, part of a World Series title team with the Reds, and once threw a perfect game. North Dakota. 20 players from this state have made it to MLB. Going strictly by birthplace, we'd have to say Darren Erstad is the best, a 3-time Gold Glove winner who had 240 hits in a single season back in 2000. But the choice here is Roger Maris. Born in Minnesota, but grew up in Grand Forks and Fargo, North Dakota. Best known for breaking the Major League home run record with 61, a record he held for 37 years. A 2-time MVP, 4-time All-Star, with 275 career home runs. Montana. 24 Major League players have come from this state. The best has got to be Dave McNally from Billings, Montana. A 3-time All-Star, part of 2 World Series title teams with the Orioles. Led the league 1 time in wins. Totaled 184 wins during his 14-year career. Led the league once in WHIP, and had 3 top 5 Cy Young finishes. New Mexico, where 31 players have gone on to play in Major League Baseball. The best one born and raised there was Dwayne Ward from Farmington. League leader in saves in 1993, 121 saves for his career. But when we're talking about ball players from New Mexico, we've got to go with Hall of Famer Ralph Kiner. Led the league in home runs every year from 1946 to 1952. Also a 3-time league leader in slugging, OPS, and OPS+. Born in Santa Rita, New Mexico, but moved away at the age of 4. Idaho, home to 32 Major League players all time. No doubt the best here is Hall of Famer Harmon Killebrew. Born and raised in Payette, Idaho, a 13-time All-Star, 6-time league leader in home runs, with 573 for his career. Twice had an OPS over 1,000, 1969 American League MVP, one of 6 times he finished in the top 5. Vermont. 38 Vermont natives have made it to MLB. Best born and raised player would be Larry Gardner from Enosburg, Vermont. He retired in 1924 with just under 2,000 hits. But if birthplace is all that matters, the obvious choice is Hall of Famer Carlton Fisk. Over 2,300 hits and 376 home runs, 1 Gold Glove and 3 Silver Sluggers as a catcher. Born in Bellows Falls, Vermont, but only because that's where the nearest hospital was. His family lived in Charlestown, New Hampshire, and that's where he grew up. He could also be considered the best player from New Hampshire, which you'll hear about in just a little bit. South Dakota, 39 Major League players to choose from here. Jason Kubel was born in Belfouche, South Dakota, and went on to play a 10-year Major League career, ending in 2014. He had 900 hits and 140 home runs, with a career high of 30 homers in 2012. Utah, 43 Major League players all time. Bruce Hurst leads them all. Born and raised in St. George, Utah, he won 145 games on the mound, All-Star in 1987, Top 5 Cy Young in '89, led the league in complete games and shutouts, one time each. If not for the Mets' comeback in the '86 World Series, Hurst likely would have been the World Series MVP. Hawaii, boasting 48 locally born Major League players. Shane Victorino, born and raised in Wailuku on Maui Island, a two-time All-Star and four-time Gold Glove winner, led the league in triples in both of those All-Star seasons, part of two World Series championship teams, Phillies in '09 and the Red Sox in 2013. New Hampshire, home to 54 Major Leaguers throughout its history. Chris Carpenter was born in Exeter, grew up in Raymond, and later moved to Bedford, all in New Hampshire. 2005 AL Cy Young winner, finished second and third in other years. 2009 league leader in ERA, 144 career wins, 1,600 strikeouts. Member of two World Series title teams. As I said before, we could go with Carlton Fisk for the best in New Hampshire, but Carpenter's a good choice too. You decide which one's best. Nevada, tied with New Hampshire, 54 MLB players all time. You could make an argument for Greg Maddux here. He eventually settled in Las Vegas, but was born in Texas and spent a lot of his childhood in Madrid, Spain. All said and done, it's hard to tie Maddux to one particular place. But there's no doubt that Bryce Harper is a Nevada boy, born and raised in Vegas. He's already won 2 MVPs, 3 Silver Sluggers, Rookie of the Year, 7 All-Star selections, 1,500 hits, 300 home runs, a career .910 OPS, and he's only 31. Delaware, home to 58 Major League Baseball players. The best born and raised from Delaware is Delino DeShields, from Seaford, Delaware. Stole 463 bases during a 13-year MLB career, and in 1997 led the league in triples. Of all those born in Delaware, the honor goes to Paul Goldschmidt. He grew up in Texas, but the earliest years were spent in Wilmington. In 14 Major League seasons, he's got 340 career home runs, and should reach 2,000 hits this year. 7-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger, 4-time Gold Glove, and the 2022 National League MVP, a future Hall of Famer. Maine. This state has produced 77 Major League players. The best of them all was Bob Stanley, born in Portland, Maine, but was in New Jersey by the time he was in high school. From 1977 to '89, he won 115 games and earned 132 saves. Made 2 All-Star appearances, once as a starting pitcher and once as a reliever. Led the league in ERA Plus in 1982. Rhode Island, tied with Maine at 77 players. Nap Lajoie, a native of Woonsocket, Rhode Island, was Ty Cobb's biggest rival in the early decades of the 20th century. Lajoie led the league 4 times in hits, 5 times in doubles, 5 times in batting, twice in on-base percentage, 4 times in slugging, 3 times in OPS, a Triple Crown winner in 1901, and a Hall of Famer. Washington, D.C. 101 D.C.-born players have come from here, including some good ones like Don Money, Lou Blue, and Doc White. But we've got to go with Maury Wills for this one. Born and raised in the U.S. capital city, Wells was a 7-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, 2-time Gold Glove, and the 1962 National League MVP. Led the league in stolen bases 6 years in a row from 1960 to '65, including a career high of 104 in 1962. Colorado, tied with D.C. at 101 players. Goose Gossage from Colorado Springs and a Hall of Famer would have been a good choice here, but an even better one is Denver native Roy Halladay, a 2-time Cy Young winner with 7 top 5 Cy Young finishes, 7-time league leader in complete games, 4 times in innings thrown, and over 200 career wins, a recent Baseball Hall of Fame inductee. Nebraska, 118 players from the Cornhusker State. Some really good ones here. Sam Crawford, the all-time record holder for triples. Bob Gibson, one of the most dominant pitchers of the 1960s and early 70s. And Wade Boggs, a 3,000 hit club member, though he didn't grow up in Nebraska. But the choice here is Grover Alexander of Elba, Nebraska, a 3-time Pitcher's Triple Crown winner, 6-time league leader in wins, 5 times in ERA, 7 times in shutouts, 6 times in strikeouts, 373 career wins, and a .256 ERA. West Virginia, home to 124 Major League players. If you're looking for a born and raised West Virginian, you might go with pitcher Wilbur Cooper of Bearsville, though it's not clear how long he lived before the family moved to Ohio. Pittsburgh Pirates record holder with over 200 career wins. But out of all West Virginia-born players, George Brett is the clear number one. His Hall of Fame career spanned 21 years, over 3,000 hits, 300 home runs, a three-time batting champion, including a .390 average in the 1980 season, three-time league leader in OPS and OPS+, a 13-time All-Star, and the 1980 American League MVP. Oregon, 142 Major League players born here. Best of them all is Dale Murphy, born in Portland and spent his whole childhood there. From 1976 to 1993, he had over 2,000 hits, 398 home runs, led the league twice in home runs, twice in slugging, once in OPS, 7-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glove, and 2-time MVP. Arizona, 145 MLB players have come from Arizona, but disappointingly, no one great has come from there. Lots of average players or guys that were only at the big league level for a few years. John Denny is a decent one. NL Cy Young winner in 1983, led the league once in wins and once in ERA, but he retired early, only pitched for 13 years. Best MLB career for a native Arizonan has to be Ian Kinsler. 4-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove, World Series champion, 1,999 hits, and 257 home runs. Texas Rangers Hall of Fame, but not enough for the Baseball Hall of Fame. Arkansas, a state that's produced 164 Major League players. Hall of Famer Bill Dickey grew up in Kensett and Searcy, Arkansas. 1934 National League MVP Dizzy Dean, another Hall of Famer, hailed from Lucas, Arkansas. But the choice here is Brooks Robinson from Little Rock. From 1955 to 1977, he collected 2,800 hits and 268 home runs, won the 1964 American League MVP, 16 Gold Gloves as a third baseman, World Series MVP, and a Hall of Fame induction. Minnesota, out of 184 players, it comes down to 3. Joe Mauer from St. Paul, the 2009 MVP, 3-time batting champ, 3-time Gold Glove catcher, and now in the Hall of Fame. Dave Winfield, also from St. Paul, 3,000 hits, 465 home runs, 7 Gold Gloves, and 6 Silver Sluggers. Hard to pass that up, but I'll go with Paul Molitor, once again from St. Paul, definitely the stronger twin when producing Major League stars. Molitor had over 3,300 career hits, 234 home runs, and a career OPS of .817, 7-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger, and a World Series MVP. Connecticut, 195 to choose from here. Mo Vaughn, born in Norwalk, raised in New Canaan. His career only lasted 12 years, but he managed to hit 328 home runs and won the 1995 American League MVP. His career ended early due to knee problems. South Carolina, first member of the 200 Club we come across here, with 204 South Carolina-born Major League players. It came down to 2. One was Larry Doby from Camden, South Carolina, who starred in the Negro Leagues and MLB. In the end, though, I've gone with Shoeless Joe Jackson, born in Pickens County and grew up in a few different towns around Greenville. From 1908 to 1920, Jackson led the American League twice in hits and total bases, once in doubles, on-base percentage, slugging, and OPS, 3 times in triples. His career .356 average is the 4th highest all-time. Mississippi, 215 Major League players all-time. One good Mississippi-born player is Dave Parker, the 1978 National League MVP, born in Grenada, Mississippi, but grew up in Cincinnati. Cool Papa Bell is the choice here. Born and raised in Starkville, Mississippi, he played in the Negro Leagues from 1922 to 1946, a 7-time league leader in stolen bases, and 5 times in runs scored. Kansas, 223 players, halfway through the states now. Walter Johnson, one of the best pitchers ever, born in Humboldt, Kansas, where he lived until he was 14. A Hall of Famer and 2-time MVP. MLB's all-time record holder for shutouts with 110. Led the league in shutouts 7 times, complete games 6 times, ERA 5 times, wins 6 times, whip 6 times, and strikeouts a whopping 12 times. 3,500 strikeouts and over 400 wins for his career. Washington, the state, not the capital. 223 players, same as Kansas. Ryne Sandberg, born and raised in Spokane, tops the list here. He retired in 1997 with the best career fielding percentage for a second baseman at the time, and the most Silver Sluggers with 7. 9-time Gold Glove, 10-time All-Star, and 1-time MVP. Led the league in home runs, total bases, triples, and runs scored at different times throughout his career. Iowa, the Hawkeye State boasts 225 players. I would like to go with Bob Feller here, a Van Meter, Iowa-born pitcher who won the Pitcher's Triple Crown and led the league in strikeouts 7 times. But I have to go with Cap Anson, the first known member of the 3,000 hit club, the first real star of professional baseball, over 3,400 career hits, over 2,000 RBI, a 4-time batting champion. He doesn't win any points for personality. Bob Feller was an all-around great guy, whereas Cap Anson is a face fit for a dartboard. But going strictly by on-the-field talent, the latter edges out the former. Wisconsin, home of 256 Major League players. Number 1 is Al Simmons, born, raised, and died in Milwaukee. Played from 1924 to 44. Never won an MVP, though he finished in the top 5 6 times. 300 home runs, just shy of 3,000 hits. In 1930 and 31, he led the league batting .381 and .390 respectively. Louisiana, 269 Major League players. Could go with Lou Brock here, born in Arkansas but lived in Collinston, Louisiana from the age of 2, a member of the 3,000 hit club, and second all-time with 938 stolen bases. But the honor here goes to Mel Ott of Gretna, Louisiana, a 12-time All-Star, 6-time leader in home runs, 4-time leader in on-base percentage, 2 times in OPS, career 2,800 hits, 511 home runs, 414 on-base percentage, and 947 OPS. Oklahoma, 277 Major League players. We are now in the top 20. Hall of Famers Johnny Bench and Paul Wainer both come from Oklahoma, but they're no match for Spavinaw, Oklahoma-born Mickey Mantle, a 20-time All-Star, 3-time MVP, Triple Crown winner, 4-time league leader in home runs, with 536 for his career, 1 batting title, led the league 3 times in on-base percentage, 4 times in slugging, 6 times in OPS, and 8 times in OPS+. Kentucky, 293 Major League players. Pee Wee Reese gets the nod here. Born in Akron, Kentucky, which today has a population of just 175. Family moved to Louisville when he was 8. From 1940 to 58, he spent his entire 16-year career with the Dodgers. Didn't have any really good years, but finished in the top 10 of MVP voting 8 times. Over 2,000 hits and 230 stolen bases. Would have had more, but lost 3 years of his prime to military service. Maryland, we've made it to the 300 club now. 302 Major Leaguers from Maryland. Some legendary players from here. Jimmy Fox, Lefty Grove, Al Kaline, Cal Ripken Jr. But I'm sure you know who number 1 is. Of course, Babe Ruth from Baltimore. Rated by most as the best player of all time when compared to his contemporaries. From 1914 to 1935, he led the league in home runs 12 times. He broke the single-season record for home runs in 1919 with 29. 8 years later, he more than doubled it with 60, a record that would last for more than 3 decades. His 714 career home runs was a record that lasted almost 4 decades. 13 times led the league in OPS. Still holds the all-time MLB career records for slugging, OPS, and OPS+. Virginia, 315 Major League players. The best one is a recent one, Justin Verlander from Manican-Sabo, Virginia. 3-time Cy Young winner, Rookie of the Year, and 1-time MVP. A 4-time league leader in wins with 257 for his career, a very high number by today's standards. 5-time league leader in strikeouts, a career high of 300 in one season, and a total of 3,342. He is 41, and his last Cy Young came just 2 years ago. Tennessee, 334 big league players. Mookie Betts is a player on the rise and could one day hold the title of the best from Tennessee. But right now that belongs to Todd Helton, born and raised in Knoxville. 5-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger, 3-time Gold Glove, and a Hall of Famer. 2,500 hits and 369 home runs. In 2000, he led the league in hits, RBI, batting, on-base percentage, slugging, and OPS. 9 times in his career had an on-base percentage over 400. Alabama, 348, not in the top 10 for number of players, but the quality of players from Alabama is as good as any other state. Hall of Famers Satchel Paige, Willie McCovey, and Hank Aaron, all born in Mobile, Alabama. Even Hank Aaron, with 755 career home runs, is not enough to top this list. That belongs to Willie Mays, coming out of Westfield, Alabama. Mays went on to be a 24-time All-Star, 12-time Gold Glove, Rookie of the Year, 2-time MVP, 4-time home run leader, 4-time stolen base leader, 5 times OPS leader, 6 times OPS plus leader, 3,200 hits, 660 home runs, 339 stolen bases. This guy could do it all. Indiana, 386. Honorable mentions to Hall of Famer Oscar Charleston from Indianapolis and Evansville's Don Mattingly. But this one goes to Chuck Klein. Born and raised in Indianapolis, Klein was the 1933 Triple Crown winner. He did not win the MVP that year. His one MVP came the year before. He was a 4-time league leader in home runs, 3 times in slugging, twice in OPS, 1 time each in batting and on-base percentage, 2,000 career hits, and exactly 300 home runs. Georgia, over the 400 mark now. Georgia has seen 424 go on to the big leagues. Hard to choose here. Columbus, Georgia native Frank Thomas hit over 500 home runs. Buena Vista, Georgia native Josh Gibson led the Negro Leagues 11 times in home runs and 8 times in OPS. That's really hard to top, but we can't deny Narrows, Georgia native Ty Cobb, an 8-time league leader in hits, 3 times in doubles, 4 times in triples, once in home runs, 6 times in stolen bases, 12 batting titles in 13 years, 7 times in on-base percentage, 8 times in slugging, 10 times in OPS, 12 times in OPS+, one of only 2 members of the 4,000 hit club. He held the record for nearly 6 decades, still holds the record for career batting average at .366. North Carolina, 443. Honorable mention to Buck Leonard from Rocky Mount, North Carolina, a 13-time All-Star, 4-time OPS leader, and 3-time home run leader in the Negro Leagues. He is runner-up here to Hall of Fame pitcher Gaylord Perry. Born and raised in Williamston, North Carolina, Perry was a 5-time All-Star and 2-time Cy Young winner. Led the league in wins 3 times, complete games twice, innings pitched twice, shutouts and ERA plus 1 time each, 314 career wins, 3,500 strikeouts. New Jersey, 445, home to Hall of Famers Joe Medwick from Carteret, New Jersey, and Goose Goslin from Salem, New Jersey. But here we'll go with a future Hall of Famer. Mike Trout, born in Vineland and grew up in Millville, the best player in MLB during the 2010s. 3-time MVP, finished in the top 5 9 years in a row, led the league 4 times in on-base percentage, 3 times in slugging, 4 times in OPS, 6 times in OPS+, and once in stolen bases, 371 career home runs, and he's only 32. Michigan, 449, we are in the top 10 now. Charlie Gehringer out of Fowlerville, Michigan was the state's best hitter, a Hall of Famer, the 1937 American League MVP, with 2,800 career hits, and Derek Jeter was born in New Jersey but grew up in Kalamazoo. But once again we're going with a pitcher. John Smoltz, born in Warren, Michigan, went to high school in Lansing, Hall of Famer, 8-time All-Star, and the 1996 NL Cy Young winner. League leader in wins twice, innings twice, strikeouts twice, saves 1 time after he was converted to a closer, 213 career wins, and over 3,000 strikeouts. Missouri, 622, way more than Michigan. Yogi Berra came out of St. Louis and won 3 MVP awards, as well as 7 top 5 finishes. Max Scherzer is a 3-time Cy Young winner with over 200 wins and 3,000 strikeouts. But I'll go with Carl Hubbell, born in Carthage, Missouri, but he was raised in Oklahoma. So for born and raised Missourians, it'd be between Yogi and Scherzer. Hubbell was a 9-time All-Star and a 2-time MVP. He led the league in wins 3 times, ERA 3 times, strikeouts once, and whip 6 times, 253 wins, and a career ERA of 2.98. Florida, 634. We could go with Wade Boggs here, a member of the 3,000 hit club. He was born in Omaha but settled down in Tampa from the age of 11. But let's go with Miami born and raised Steve Carlton, a 4-time Cy Young winner, pitcher's Triple Crown winner, and a 10-time All-Star. Led the league in wins 4 times, innings 5 times, strikeouts 5 times, and ERA once. 329 wins and 4,136 strikeouts, ranking 4th all-time. Massachusetts, 673. Some great ones from the early days like Mickey Cochran from Bridgewater or Pie Traynor from Framingham. Surprisingly, though, the best one is a more recent one. Tom Glavine, born in Concord and raised in Billerica, 2-time Cy Young and 10-time All-Star, 5-time league leader in wins, once in ERA+, 305 career wins, and 2,600 strikeouts. Texas, we now take a big leap from the 673 in Massachusetts up to the 1,000 club. 1,025 Major League players born in Texas. There's Hall of Fame shortstop and 500 home run club member Ernie Banks from Dallas. 2-time MVP infielder Roger Hornsby from Winters, Texas. Nolan Ryan, the all-time strikeout king from Refugio, Texas. They're all good, but top of the list is Tris Speaker from Hubbard, Texas. 1912 American League MVP. Led the league 8 times in doubles and still holds the all-time record with 792. Led the league 4 times in on-base percentage, 3,514 hits, ranking 5th all-time. Defensively, he holds the record for assists, double plays, and unassisted double plays by an outfielder. Ohio 1052, starting the top 5 now. An amazing list of players here. 3-time MVP Mike Schmidt from Dayton, 2-time batting champion George Sisler from Manchester, 7-time Cy Young winner Roger Clemens from Dayton, Ken Griffey Jr., 7th all-time in home runs, born in Pennsylvania but grew up in Cincinnati, 9-time Silver Slugger Barry Larkin from Silverton, all-time hit king Pete Rose from Cincinnati. And the winner is Cy Young. Born and raised in Gilmore, Ohio, he holds MLB's most unbeatable record with 511 career wins. Led the league in wins 5 times, ERA twice, strikeouts twice. Won the Pitcher's Triple Crown in 1901 through 3 no-hitters, including 1 perfect game. Illinois 1094. Best born and raised from Illinois would probably go to Kirby Puckett, a 6-time Silver Slugger from Chicago. If birthplace is all that matters, though, it definitely goes to Rickey Henderson. Born in Chicago but moved to Arkansas when he was 2, and then to Oakland when he was 7. Henderson is the all-time stolen base king in Major League Baseball, and it's not even close. He led the league 12 times in stolen bases and holds the single-season record with 130. Also holds the record for most runs scored in his career. New York 1196. Quite an impressive list of players here. 3-time Cy Young and 3-time Triple Crown winner Sandy Koufax from New York City. 2-time MVP Hank Greenberg from New York City. 18-time All-Star Carl Yastrzemski from Southampton. 8-time wins leader Warren Spahn from Buffalo. 3,000 Hit Club member Eddie Collins from Millerton. 3-time Cy Young winner Jim Palmer from New York City. The number 1 New Yorker is Lou Gehrig from New York City. 2-time MVP, Triple Crown winner, 3-time home run leader. Best known for his consecutive game streak, a record that lasted about 6 decades. Pennsylvania 1426, second most of any state. Home to 3-time MVP Stan Musial from Donora, Pennsylvania. 563 home run hitter Reggie Jackson from Abington, Pennsylvania. 3-time MVP Roy Campanella from Philadelphia. 2-time Pitcher's Triple Crown winner Christy Mathewson from Factoryville, Pennsylvania. Ken Griffey Jr., as already mentioned, born in Donora. Number 1 all-time from Pennsylvania, Honus Wagner. Born, raised, and died in Carnegie, Pennsylvania. Widely considered the greatest shortstop ever. Led the league 7 times in doubles, 3 times in triples, 5 times in stolen bases, 8 batting titles, 4-time leader in on-base percentage, 6 times in slugging, 8 times in OPS, 6 times in OPS+. Finished his career with 3,420 hits and over 700 stolen bases. And finally, California, which has produced 2,460 Major League players, over 1,000 more than second-place Pennsylvania. And we've got quite an honorable mention list here. 3-time MVP Joe DiMaggio from Martinez, California. 586 home run hitting Frank Robinson, born in Texas but moved to Oakland right after he was born. 3-time Cy Young winner Tom Seaver from Fresno. Jackie Robinson, born in Georgia but raised in Pasadena. 3,000 hit and 500 home run club member Eddie Murray from Los Angeles. 8-time batting champion Tony Gwynn, also from Los Angeles. Now it comes down to 2 of the greatest hitters ever. One is Ted Williams from San Diego. He led the league 4 times in home runs, 6 times in batting, the last one to bat over 400. 12 times in on-base percentage, 9 times in slugging, 10 times in OPS, 9 times in OPS+, over 500 home runs, and holds the all-time Major League record for career on-base percentage at .482. The other one is Barry Bonds from Riverside. 7-time MVP, holds the single-season record for home runs with 73. 2 batting titles, led the league 10 times in on-base percentage, 7 times in slugging, 9 times in OPS and OPS+. Holds the MLB career record for home runs with 762 and walks with 2,558. Tough choice here, but I'll go with Williams. All those great numbers despite missing 5 years to military service. And that does it, the best player from each of the 50 states plus 1 from DC. But that's just what I think. Let us know what you think down in the comments. That's all for this one, and until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya!